All right, Charles, we all made it. This is your group ride.
Yeah, it is.
So, is this everybody you were expecting?
Yeah. I was thinking, maybe 15 cars.
Charles, how are you? Good to see you again.
All right, so let's go. Let's look at the cars here. Mostly a speed group. And the cool thing about the speed cars is they're fairly stock, pretty much all of them. Few modifications here and there. But we do got a Turbo S running with us. We got a Pro R running with us. CanAm RC, badass little car. We got Diablos, El Jefes. And then I'm driving the Morgan Motorsports Segway. So today we're going to find out if a Segway can keep up with the top cars. Turbo S, Pro Rs. This is a race spec El Diablo. It's Augie's. So, I mean, you get all kinds out here. Get these badass cars, and then you get a Lexus. Just driving out here, having a good time. First stop. It's these big rocks. I'm not sure what they're called. And I had to pass all the speed cars and get to like the third position behind the leaders. And those cars are fast. And I'm pretty sure I pissed some people off. almost wrecked a few people. So hopefully they're not too mad at me. Like we got our first casualty.
Like
Just a tire. Oh, but it's a tensor tire. So.
It's a tensor.
I didn't know it was used.
It's getting tense in here.
Tensor, yeah. All right. How to plug a tire 101. Let's see what you got, bro.
Stick flat?
There it is. Feed crescent box for the win.
You can stack multiple plugs in there too.
What car are you riding in? Okay, so in the Speed, you guys are just like having a good old time going through that first section. And I was holding on for dear life.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I thought you looked like you were doing pretty good.
I was having fun, but I was holding on for dear life. But I know, you know, in my Speed, I know what it's like to drive. It's just butter.
Yeah. I was trying to get around people, and now we're going slow.
Watching the speeds. I mean, it's butter.
They're so
Like,
flat.
Yeah, on those whoops, it hits them so nice.
Yeah.
Like ours does a decent job, but not like the speeds. The speeds on those whoops, I mean.
That Segway fully built from Morgan Motorsports is 40 grand. So, you know,
Yeah.
like for 40 grand for me to bring that car out here and be keeping up with you guys,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Pretty damn
Like
good.
with the cage, with the tires, all that stuff, 40 grand.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, this wasn't that.
Yeah, I know how much they cost. You know, this car right here, he doesn't have too many aftermarket upgrades, but I mean, you're looking at 60 plus. So an additional 20,000 over one of these. So right now, I don't have as much power. The seats are super comfortable. So no complaints about the comfortability. But I do have to push the gas pedal a little harder to keep up with these guys. Pretty dang happy with this Segway. Would I rather be in my Speed? Yeah. But again, you're talking, you know, a $20,000 difference. And that's the same thing with a Maverick R or a Pro R. So, you know, if you wanted to get out here and wondered if you bought one of these Segways, if you could keep up with the top cars, you know, Turbo R, Speed UTVs, we got a Pro R with us, you know, you can. It's just a little bit more work. We're stopped because
Because why?
because a Polaris
Speed event.
I don't know who brought that.
came to a Speed event. Actually, they're here because they have a Speed on order and they haven't gotten it yet. And there has not been a Speed car yet that's blown a belt. So I don't know, is it a first? Whose belt blew?
It was a Polaris.
The Polaris.
Which car blew the belt again?
Polaris, can you believe it? A dozen speeds out here, and it's a Polaris.
How's that even possible, right?
Front page news.
I mean, the Polaris guys will deny it, I'm sure. All right, so tell us what happened. You have a Turbo R. It's a really nice car, by the way.
No, I do have to tell you, that belt had a lot of miles on it.
Yeah.
We had about 2,000 miles on that belt.
Yeah.
But still. So we were just going. I just heard, you know, I could hear it, you know, when it starts to.
Yeah. Well, at least, so when you pulled it off, was it in shreds or?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
he kept going. We were going to stop right there, but then
Yeah.
we decided to, well, we radioed whatever.
Yeah.
And Charles was like, well, can you go a little bit? And we're like, yep. And then all of a sudden.
Bam.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you could hear it going more. And then all of a sudden it was like,
He just blew a tire. All right, Brian, what happened?
I suck at driving. I hit the biggest rock going up the hill.
I heard that. It was like, Charles, what are you doing?
You know, getting out the push rope.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Corn was a bitch, that's why.
Oh,
Because we've had two problems on this ride, and I'm going to tell you, it was not a speed, either one. A Polaris belt and a Polaris water pump.
all right. So do you have speed on order yet?
No. It's out of my price range.
All right. So these cars,
I'm a humble pirate.
these cars are typically pretty dang tried and true, but we do have an overheating issue on this car, which happens from time to time.
My mechanic's fault.
Pretty nice car, unfortunate. There's your quintessential video of a speed towing a Polaris.
Look
All
how
right.
much shit he's blowing.
We all seen these on Temu, right? So does it really work, Charles?
Hell yeah.
What's the brand of that one?
I don't know, LMMM.
That's
30
pretty cool,
amp.
dude. That's really
200 watts, 7.4 volt with the rechargeable.
that's really working.
Colander clutch cover. It gets more air. We reduct everything. We pull more air. It gets more air. Bottom line. My belt temps before were 220. So down to 185. Just
Wow.
that. Yeah, so that's night and day. I highly recommend that. Yep.
Now, one thing that I assumed when you installed his fuel cell was that you lost the storage space. So this is the first time I've seen it.
I don't think you're losing much though.
You got tons of storage space.
Yeah. And see, that's where I did the ducting. The top of the stuff. There you go. So it's elbowed out that way, but it's wide open.
Very high quality stuff.
Oh yeah, just keep all the stuff. It's storage for days.
That's cool.
Crazy, right? You're not losing any storage. I think it's worth it.
So I have all the shock pivots, all the suspension pivots. I got the tie rod. I have his secondary helix. I got the clutch cover vent.
So your car's been Hollandaised.
Hollandaise.
Almost.
That's what I call it.
I'm trying to afford more parts. He keeps making more parts. I'm trying to figure out how to afford
You
it.
can't catch up. You can't catch up with him.
Trying to keep up with that guy.
So how do you
It's an FK Uniball.
How do you install? Because this is the stock speed
Yep.
knuckle, right?
So it presses in, but then on the other side, there's a clip that holds it into the actual Heim end. So it's just a Uniball that goes into the Heim piece.
Because with speed, that's like a 500-mile, 1,000-mile part. And now
we should
you're taking the
probably
rubber boot off and all the grease out, and
should get 3,000 miles out of those. I mean,
okay.
on all the FK pivots on race cars, you probably get, 1,000 to 2,000 miles. So that's race miles. If this is just pre-running, you should get.
And you have those top and bottom.
Top, bottom, plus this runs a real Heim on the tie rod instead of a speed part. But then if you do have to replace pivots though, you only have to replace the Heim. You only have to replace the pivot. You don't have to replace the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more cost effective. It's about $30 a pivot to replace when those wear out. So I also have Hollander's axle is behind this. I have a spare axle that's in here.
Oh yeah, that's a cool
And
part.
on the other side, I have the stock speed tie rods that are behind the kick panel.
The ones that came on your car.
Yep.
Okay.
I got the Hollander bracket for
Okay.
the GPS. I also got his cooling, his CVT cover. I have his quick release tool and his Heim kit, but it's not installed yet. So how
What?
You get $250.
Woo!
Me?
No.
Your car.
I'm gonna put it in selfie mode. All right, I'm gonna get some Hollander gear, dude.
I don't know if he's working any Segway stuff right now in his engineering department.
I did ask if the speed had to be present to win,
It does not.
and it does not. As long as I purchased one,
See, I couldn't go in it.
I could show proof of purchase.
far away. I
couldn't.
wasn't hearing the receive on that, so my antenna.
So we were a little further down the wash though.
Right.
You get in the washes and it's hit or miss. Depends on what rock you're bouncing off of.
So the car is doing like a little bit of a limp mode. You know, one thing that's nice about the Speeds is that you have a belt temp sensor, and you can tell exactly what temperature your motor is, and so I haven't had any issues with the Segway, but this thing's running 35-inch tires on 105 horsepower. I'm trying to keep up with the Speeds, or they'll make fun of me all day. You know, the Speeds are closer to 200 horsepower, turbocharged. We have a Pro R with us and a Turbo R, so I'm kind of like the little guy, trying to stay up with everybody. And the Segway's been doing pretty good, but I just think that the 35-inch tires and trying to keep up with all these guys is probably, we've got some belt temp things going on is what I think.
How's the car handling with the 35?
It actually does really well. It's a little heavy, but these Segways have adjustable steering, so you can have feedback or you can not have feedback. And so with that adjustment, it's actually pretty fair. It's not like the Speed. There's a lot less feedback because the Speed can handle 35-inch tires all day long. This car comes with 30-inch tire stock. Speed comes with 32-inch tire stock, and a lot of the bigger cars are coming with 32-inch tire stock. So 35-inch tire is a bit of a stretch for this car, but you know, in the slow climbing stuff, it's really good. As far as handling it, you know, I could pick all the lines, so it does really good. I've been really impressed with this car, so you don't have to worry about it.
It's a pretty cool exhaust tip.
Yeah, so that is a Gibson exhaust. It gives off a pretty good note on this car. It's pretty loud, but it's got a good note to it.
Is this just a bolt-on muffler, or is it like full exhaust?
Just slip-on muffler.
Is this trunk stock?
That is a Morgan Motorsports trunk. So they make them for the X3s, Mavic Pro R, and like Class 10 cars, stuff like that.
Nice little over-centered latch. Holds it in place.
Yeah, lots of storage inside that trunk.
How much junk do you have in there?
I just have a cooler.
You think you're having a belt issues, Jack?
I don't know, I'm just gonna check the health of it real quick.
I don't know what to say, but it doesn't look like there's a bunch of chunks in there.
Well, the belt looks fine.
It's a pretty fat belt too.
But my question, I just don't know. Look at the helix.
Oh yeah, where it's kind of rubbing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't see that part.
I don't know if there's, I mean, I don't see anything blown up in here.
Wait, are there rollers supposed to be on this thing?
That's what I'm wondering. I am happy to report that the Segway made it back to camp just fine. The only issues that the Segway had was that roller issue, which I'm still investigating, and the jam nuts on the tie rod ends came loose. But I noticed it right away and was able to tighten those up. And we made it back in time for Talent Brown to go pre-run with Todd Romano, and everybody made it back to camp. That Turbo S just had a thermostat that wasn't opening up, and after a few miles it opened right up, so he made it home just fine. So overall, it was a great rip. Thank you, Charles, for putting that together, and we'll see you on the next ride.